What's up, YouTube? Super Animal Drummer here. I'm going to talk today about the Kalam Cosmological argument. Again, another video. I'm going to really expound upon what I said last time. I'm going to talk about the equivocation fallacy, the composition fallacy, and I'm going to posit my own, what I think is a problem with this, and some what I would call circular inductive reasoning with regard to the first premise. So this is going to take a bit of setting up, so bear with me. I think this argument commits the fallacy of equivocation with the word began between the first and second premise. The first premise is using the word began to refer to creation ex materia. In other words, the creation of materials, creation of something from prior existing materials, and this can be kind of demonstrated through the first law of thermodynamics, which says that neither matter or energy can be destroyed, which implies that everything has been around since the beginning, or the Big Bang. And the second premise is talking about creation ex nihilo, which is a creation of the entire universe from nothing, or from we don't know what. So there's just two entirely different words of began, meanings of the word began. And based on that alone, this argument is essentially invalid. But I want to take it a step further. But before they do, I also want to talk about the composition fallacy, just for fun. What applies to a system doesn't necessarily apply within the system, I think, is what the composition fallacy essentially is saying. So, for instance, causality is necessarily a temporal process, and which exists within space and time. Well, space and time was created after the Big Bang. So before the Big Bang, there's no reason for there's no space and there's no time. Therefore, why would causality follow? Unless you're gonna posit simultaneous causation, which has its own problem because you can't move forward in time. Because the causal chain all happens at the same time, no matter how long you want to make the causal chain. From the first step to the last, or if you want to take it infinitely, there's no time no time is needed to progress in order to move along the causal chain, if that's even possible. Which you could actually use the composition fallacy against me in this instant, and you could say that, well, simultaneous causation is possible to start off this system, but not happen within it. So that would be probably a viable rebuttal to that. But anyway, now to move on to what I'm trying to say. The first premise says everything that began to exist needs a cause, and this to me means that it is attempting to use inductive reasoning to establish itself as being true. The problem is, if you factor in the equivocation fallacy, what is being concluded is the universe, and the universe is created ex nihilo, which is obviously the problem in and of itself. But I'm just gonna go with it. Basically, if you align the definition of the word began in the first premise with the second premise, and you say everything that began to exist ex nihilo needs a cause, and you just get rid of the fallacy of equivocation, and you make the definitions the same between the first and second premise, you realize how absurd this is. Because if you say that everything that was created ex nihilo needs a cause, well, we have no other instances of creation ex nihilo from which to induct to say that it needs a cause. Therefore, this argument is attempting to induct from the same event that is in question as needing a cause. And that's viciously circular, and that's pretty much what I'm saying. That's it. Let me know what you think. Peace.